Just on Joe Biden, I note that he's met privately with the relatives of George Floyd, the fellow whose death led to protests of racism and police brutality. President Biden, Vice President Harris, Nancy Pelosi met with the family. It was in the Oval Office. And the family are urging politicians to pass police reform in his name, the name of George Floyd. Afterwards, President Biden said, though I somehow doubt his ability to articulate anything, so someone wrote for him that it was, quote, an inflection point. Just on whether Biden has any clue about what he's saying, listen to the latest. This is where he's telling America that no one earning $400,000 will pay any tax. Listen to this.
The reason I'm bothering to do this is I keep hearing on the press Biden's going to raise your taxes. Anybody making less than $400,000 a year will not pay a single penny in taxes.
What? I mean, as they say, play it again, Sam. Listen to this, what this bloke is saying. Anyone earning $400,000 or less will pay no tax. Listen to this.
The reason I'm bothering to do this is I keep hearing on the press Biden's going to raise your taxes. Anybody making less than $400,000 a year will not pay a single penny in taxes.
I think the poor chap meant pay no more tax, but he's cognitively gone. Anyway, back to the Floyd family. The criminal's daughter and her mother and his sister, brothers, sister-in-law and nephew were all at the meeting in the White House. And they stood before cameras outside the White House calling out, say his name. Now, as you know, the former police officer Derek Chauvin faces up to 40 years in prison over the death of Floyd. Am I permitted to wonder whether if this same George Floyd had observed the directions of the law, he might still be alive? He was arrested after breaking the law, passing a counterfeit $20 bill at a grocery store. No one condones police brutality, but the medical examiner did find that drugs in his system may have increased the likelihood of his death. Remember, this is a fellow whose family are celebrated in the White House, and they want legislation named after him. What message are we sending to people? Here's a bloke with a long history of crime. In the space of 8 years, he was convicted of 8 crimes. He served 4 years in prison after accepting a plea bargain for an aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon in a home invasion. And note, according to investigators, Floyd entered an apartment by impersonating a water department worker, barging in with 5 other men, held a pistol to a pregnant woman's stomach and searched for items to steal. He had another 5-year stint in prison in 2009. And it should be noted that one legal expert in the defence of the policeman Chauvin claimed the likely cause of death was a fentanyl overdose, arguing of Chauvin, the policeman, quote, although he had him pinned under his knee and he's yelling, I can't breathe, there is an argument that Chauvin wasn't exerting pressure and Floyd's inability to breathe was due to the drugs in his system, unquote. Yet this fellow's memory is being celebrated at the White House by President Biden. This criminal's brother and 5 other members of the family, and outside the White House, in front of the cameras, they called on people to chant his name, George Floyd. Yet in the world of President Biden, it's the police who are treated as trash. Remember also that in March this year, well in advance of the trial, the Minneapolis City Council approved a settlement of $27 million to the Floyd family following a, quote, wrongful death lawsuit. US $27 million. Now, Mr. Biden, of course, can have whomever he wants at the White House. But would it be asking too much to hear an apology, at least, from the family for the harm and hardship and fear and damage done by their criminal son to others? The President of the United States is meant to uphold the law. In all the discussion about this fellow George Floyd, is Biden seriously going to yield to the family of a criminal and pass police reform in his name? I can't think of anything more demotivating of a police force who face every day the violence and brutality practiced by this bloke, George Floyd. Decent Americans must be asking of Biden, which side of justice is he on? Those who enforce the law or those who regularly break it? What do you think? Alan at skynews.com.au. The text line 0414 000 848.